Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Sabrina Love Note. I am Sabrina Love. No makeup, no nonsense, just straight fact on issues that affect our daily life as gay and lesbian citizens and human beings in today's society. So today I've got 4 issues for you. I'm going to try to squeeze this down a little bit because I know last week's or Tuesday's episode was a little long, but it was important that you got all of the points out of that I wanted to discuss with you. But today I'm going to try to cut it down just a little bit. And a quick programming note for you, you loyal viewers, and I appreciate you so much and all the messages and comments that you send to me. In fact, one of the issues tonight is an issue that was brought to my attention to revisit by a loyal viewer, and I appreciate that. A little programming change. These come out on Friday and on Tuesday. And typically they come out a little later in the evening, but after speaking to my closest advisor, we're going to start releasing them on the same day, Fridays and Tuesdays, but they're going to be released first thing in the morning. So I'm going to film these late Thursday night and late Monday night for immediate release after midnight on Fridays and on Mondays. So the news will be fresh and it'll be clear and you'll be able to get to it before you head into your weekend and get to it after you've started your first day back at work so you can get the conversations going. By the way, did you check out the show Touch Like I Asked You to? Last night's episode, unbelievable. Let's get right to the business at heart. Let's start right now. Issue number 1. Okay, issue number 1 has to do with what's been about a month since the jury found Darren Ravi, the man who said, well, let me just get into it. Darren Ravi was charged with a hate crime in connection with the bullying of his roommate at Rutgers University, Tyler Clemente, who then, unfortunately and sadly, ended up taking his own life because of this event. And let me tell you what the charges stemmed from. Darren Ravi was charged with a hate crime because he knew his roommate Tyler was gay and set up a webcam, a spy cam, if you will, to broadcast and record and document Tyler's romantic relationship with another man in Tyler and Darren's room. And Darren went as far as to use Twitter and to use text messages and other social media to let his friends know where they could find this and where they could watch it live. And it was so humiliating to Tyler Clemente that he found out about it after the fact. Lots of people did see this, and he did end up taking his own life. So the question really was, what's my opinion, and do I think that the fact that they charged him not for Tyler's death, but for a hate crime, do I think that this was just and moral and fair? And a lot of people have said, this was just an innocent college prank. Darren had no background of any kind of homophobia or hatred or inappropriate actions towards gay and lesbian society. So he's a good kid, basically, and never had any run-ins with the law before. Well, all right, here's my opinion. Charles Manson never had any run-ins with the law until he sent people out and they killed Sharon Tate and the LaBiancas in the late 70s. So do I think the fact that this kid was a good kid with a clean record, never had any problem? No, I don't think that fucking matters a bit. Here's what I think matters. If we're going to really get down to the juicy tidbits of how to stop bullying and how to stop suicide and how to stop the problems that are racing through our community because it's so cliche now to be gay that people feel that they can go the extra step when it comes to harassment and bullying because, it's not this, big culture now that it used to be where if you went after us, it was really a big issue. Now we're just so ingrained into society that people who are bigots want to pick on, minorities. So we're just classed into that now, which is picking on anybody because of a race or an orientation is a wrong thing to do. But when it comes to the issue of school bullying, causing school and teen and young adult suicides. I don't care if Darren Ravi had a clean record or was a 55-time convicted felon. This man set up a camera to invade the privacy of another person with the sole intent of broadcasting it to other people for his own sick, malicious pleasure. This was not some little high school prank where you took a picture of another boy patting some boy on the ass as they passed each other in the locker room. This was a live and then documented for others to view in the future. But this was a live streamed video of an intimate sexual encounter that was filmed and streamed for nothing else than to let's sit around and watch the fags fuck. That's all it was about. So Darren Ravi was charged with a hate crime. Kudos to that jury. They found him guilty on half of the charges and not guilty on half of the other charges, but they did find him guilty on the top count of the charge, which was a hate crime based on invasion of privacy. And if the media would sit and say, what was the cause of a young man taking his own life in the prime of his age, just beginning to experience life, what is the cause of this suicide? And if the cause of that suicide, the only way we can stop suicide and stop bullying is to get to the reason that these things happen in the first place and stomp it out. Put an end to it. And if it means taking people to court, charging them with criminal matters, then so be it. And Darren Ravi, I'm sorry that you chose to make a mockery and to spend your time at Rutgers University with nothing better to do than to film your roommate for the sole pleasure of sitting around to mock him. His life hangs on your hands for the remainder of yours. Every day I hope you wake up with his picture right here in your mind, because that's what you deserve. And you got what you deserve. Maybe a little less, in my opinion. Maybe they should have thrown you in for 20 years or 30 years because you caused someone's life to end directly. That's issue number one. Okay, issue number two. I was sent a startling video this week to view, and it was filmed by the Iraqi Refugee Assistance Project, which is a project that is assisting the gay and lesbian youth in Iraq to be taken out of Iraq and moved into safer haven countries like the U.S. or the U.K. Or in Europe, and out of that scene where they are being persecuted, killed, maimed, raped, simply because of their sexual orientation. So I support this project, the Iraqi Refugee Assistance Project, so much because they're really getting to the heart of the problem. But there's this one video, if you'll remember a couple of years ago, there was a big public trial where they hung two boys in Iraq in public because they were gay, and they were teenagers, took them to the gallows and hung them publicly. Don't get me started on international religious law. So this guy's name was Ahmed, and he posted a video on YouTube about how he was in Iraq, had a boyfriend, was very comfortable, and he was helping support the boyfriend because he came from a family that had wealth, and he was helping support the boyfriend. But the boyfriend kept asking for more and more and more, and how many times have we been there, right? So finally, he had to tell the boyfriend, you can't ask for any more because my family's going to get suspicious if I continue to send money to you all the time. They're going to want to know why I'm sending money to you. So the boyfriend responds with, no, you are going to continue to send me money because if you don't, do you remember all those pictures that we took together, those intimate Facebook pictures that we took together? I'm going to send them to your family. So Ahmed freaked out and stopped the relationship immediately. And the boy, in fact, did send copies of those photos to his father, his uncles, all of his family members, his male family members. And his male family members came after him and said they were going to perform an honor killing because he had brought shame to the family. So they were going to perform an honor killing. And he escaped with the help of the project to get to Europe. Once he was in Europe, he found himself in another relationship. He was out with some friends, and his boyfriend went to a store to buy some perfume, I believe, or some cologne or some fragrance, whatever it was for, and was pulled into questioning because he displayed homosexual actions. You know, he was Queenie. And they pulled him in and actually put him in jail, sent him back to Iraq, put him in jail there, where he was forced by the prison guards to prove his homosexuality by letting them rape him continuously. They didn't believe that he was homosexual, so the way they were going to find out if he was homosexual is if they could rape him. And if they could perform the act and penetrate him, then I can't really talk about any more of the specifics because it's so disturbing that we sacrificed tens of thousands of American lives and tens of thousands of American soldiers' health and wellness and their families' health and wellness to go liberate a country that is, in my opinion, in worse shape than it was when Saddam Hussein was still in charge. Now, I do not believe for a second that Saddam Hussein was a great leader or a good man or someone that should be in charge of a country, but the fact is there was law when he was there. And from law may come horrible acts, and he did horrible things to his own people. But the people knew by which code they were held to, as opposed to these religious sects that now have their own laws, that if you step outside the boundary of this group of people, then you're persecuted by this group of people's laws and policies and directions, whereas if you step 2 streets down, you're in another sect's rules and laws and policies and procedures, and it's a state and a country of disrepair and unrest. And this video, and I encourage you to check it out on YouTube, it was so alarming because we never should have been in Iraq to start with. We never should have been in Iraq to start with. And I do feel a certain sense of responsibility to speak on the behalf of the international community because we went there to liberate, and we did not liberate. We confused. We've got a lot of work to do to help our international brothers and sisters. We take for granted so many times that we have such big problems here in America, and we do, but they're so minor compared to what our brothers and sisters are facing in Russia that we talked about on another episode, that they're facing in the Middle East and Iraq and Afghanistan. And sometimes these issues just don't feel important compared to things like that. But I want you to start the conversation. Watch the video, start the conversation about the way that the world community of gay and lesbians comes together to support itself. How do we come together as an international community? And I want the conversation started because it's a huge problem. And the problem begins with recognizing that the problem exists. And that's what I'm trying to do, is help you see what issues we're facing in America and in the world community. And we have to solve them. We will solve them because we have to solve them. Serious episode, huh? That's issue number 2. Okay, issue number 3. Let's get on to not really a lighter subject, but a subject that has really sparked a lot of humorous comeback. Kirk Cameron, who we all know from Growing Pains, played little Mike Seaver, and has put out the Left Behind movies, which are movies about the religious end of the world, the rapture, and so on. Very popular in the religious community. very popular in generalized movies. But Kirk Cameron has now taken his conservative Christian belief a step in the extreme wrong direction. Joining the campaign trail this week, the Romney campaign, he stepped out on stage and spoke of how the homosexual agenda is destroying the family values of America. Now, there's a group of child stars, former child stars, who have put out videos and they're called COC, Child Celebrities Against Kirk Cameron. And they've put out this big video in response to how silly it is to think that someone could work and live in Hollywood, the queer capital of America, and reap the rewards of being a Hollywood icon and want to tear down a faction of society. Celebrities feel like they have a place dictating policy and procedure in areas that they have no experience in. You know, they want to speak out on issues, and it's very rare that they speak out negatively on these issues. Most of the time you hear them when they go overseas and do a great mission, or where they're working against bullying and against suicide in the communities here on the homeland. But now we've got where a character, a child star, is making a statement, not just about his Christian beliefs, and he has a right to believe anything he wants to believe. The problem is when you want to impose your will and your beliefs on a group of other people because you don't like that group of people for who they are. It is, again, domestic terrorism. It is domestic terrorism. It's a crime to go after a certain community because of who they are, because of the actions that they live their life by, and target them for specific wrongdoings. It's a hate crime. And Kirk Cameron is on stage in front of a national audience joining Mitt Romney, talking about the destruction of family values in America is caused by the homosexual agenda. Well, first of all, I've been homosexual now for 37 years, okay? And don't tell anybody, 37. But I've never seen an agenda. I've never been sent the memo. First of all, I never got the welcome kit to start with. So fuck you, whoever was supposed to send me the basket. I didn't get it. Never seen the agenda. Never gotten a copy of the email with the secret password to get into our chat rooms. Never seen any of that. We're not here to destroy the American family. We're here to create the American family, because the American family in 2012 is not the American family of 1950. It's not on the box of Quaker oatmeal. It's not Norman Rockwell paintings anymore. This is a modern day family. And more we're seeing even heterosexual couples are living together, having children, not having commitment or formal wedding. And the modern family is so much different than what it was 40 or 50 years ago. And we have to get to a point where we accept the fact that change happens. And if you have an opinion about things and you want to make a stance about things, that's great. Get your statement out. Get the conversation started. I'm all in for that. That's what this show is all about. But when you target a specific hate group, you target a specific group based on hate, or you target a specific group of people based on your dislike because of, it spreads hate. It spreads disruption in the normalcy of society. And I think that the Christian fundamentalist right has so many more issues to deal with than whether the homosexual agenda is beating family values. Maybe they should take a look in the mirror and realize that the decades of the 80s and 90s, the heterosexual community, while we were fighting for our lives with the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, we weren't worried about the destruction of family values. We were worried about getting to the end of that decade, getting to the end of where people were literally not knowing if they were going to make it to the next day, so that we could get to a place where we could create family. So if you want to hate us, Kirk Cameron, hate us. But just be advised, we know what you're all about. Money, notoriety, fame, because that's what you've built all of this on. Kirk Cameron, your growing pains have become a pain in my ass. And it's time to turn you off. Okay, issue number 4. This is going to be our last issue today. We're going to do 4 issues today. I want to lighten it up just a little bit more and talk about celebrities that made some news this week. And there was a couple of celebrities that made a lot of news this week. One, Paul Iacano, who was the star of MTV's The Real Life of R.J. Berger. He's had lots. He's a younger kid. He's in his late teens, early 20s. Had a lot of starring roles on MTV and VH1 television shows. Came out this week to the Village Voice's Michael Musto and came out of the closet, stood up as a proud gay man, proud gay American, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the whole culture of Hollywood, big actors and sports legends and sports figures are really beginning to get this culture in their head that it does not matter what you do when you go home any more to us than it matters to you what your fans do when they go home. You don't care what they do when they stop watching your show or leave your concert or leave the arena after you've played ball. You don't care. And we don't care what you're doing in your bedroom when you leave. And we welcome you to the pack. And kudos for people like Jane Lynch, who started really this newfound, it doesn't even matter mindset. That whatever you do is what you do, and if you want to still see what I do when I do it on television, or when I do my acting in a theater, or when I play my sports in an arena, then you come and see that for that. And I'll tell you, if you want to know, what my personal life is about, because I'm a public figure. And if you don't worry about it. But it's not a big deal. So kudos to Paul, and kudos to Jane Lynch. I was watching her today, and she's an amazing woman. And then there's this weird thing about Lady Gaga that was this week, and it's all over the news, and I just don't understand it. Lady Gaga, this huge cultural icon, not only for the gay and lesbian community, but for the younger generation and the older generation, and Lady Gaga really runs the gamut in regards to her fans. And she put out a tweet this week, okay? Twitter has gotten so many people in so much trouble. You know, you've got congressmen sending pictures of their penises to their constituents, and now you've got Lady Gaga making some silly-ass remark. Doesn't even, and it's made such big news, and it was so stupid. Here's what the tweet said, and I quote, let me read this so I make sure I get it right. Here was what the tweet said. Just killed back-to-back spin classes. Eating a salad, dreaming of a cheeseburger. Hashtag I can't read my own hashtag. Born this way, and pop singers don't eat. Sorry. So hashtag pop singers don't eat. Hashtag born this way. So she said, just finished back-to-back spin classes. Okay. Terrific. Don't care. But then she says, eating a salad, dreaming of a cheeseburger. Hashtag pop stars don't eat. And now the media has descended upon her because they're saying that she's making light and making fun of people with eating disorders. Now, people with eating disorders is a very serious health issue. Okay? It is a leading cause of death and disfigurement among women. There are tremendous eating disorders in the male community that very rarely get spoken of. Do I think Lady Gaga sent out a tweet that said she was eating a salad, dreaming of a cheeseburger, and that pop stars don't eat to break down onto this community of people with eating disorders? No, I think she did exactly what the rest of us do. You know, those of us that are in entertainment and those that are not. If we need to drop a couple of pounds or if we need to shape up a little bit, yeah, we go on a diet, we watch what we're eating, and yet every time we're eating a salad or eating that tofu wrap, I guarantee you're thinking about a double cheeseburger or a bacon cheeseburger or a steak, or you're dreaming about that. And if you're in entertainment specifically, when she says hashtag pop stars don't eat, to me, it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's just honest. If you're getting ready to go on stage right before any of my events, you won't catch me eating supper or usually even eating lunch because you're on stage, it's so hot, there's so much energy and so much going on stage that if you eat too much, it really will make you sick because of the heat. So no, the show, and I can't imagine what it would be like to be a pop star having to be on the road day after day after day after day. You'd really have to modify your diet a lot. So I think she's talking about eating a salad and eating healthy. She just got back from spin classes, and then she throws in a little something cute and kinky that's pop stars don't eat at her hashtag, and the media descends on it like she's tearing the people with eating disorders apart, and I just don't think that that's the case here. I think she spoke once again what people around the world think every time they eat something that's on their diet and say homage to what they really wish they were having instead. And those of us in the entertainment business understand the hashtag pop stars don't eat. It's not an attack on any group. Find something that's worth reporting. This 24-hour news cycle is always just pushing news in you, and sometimes they just run out of stuff to talk about, so they make the biggest deals out of absolutely nothing. Congratulations and welcome to the family, Paul and Lady Gaga. We know you were born this way, and so are we. We wouldn't want you to change for anything. All right, so that's it. Love Notes episode 4. And look, I think I'm on time this week. I'm not really sure. But remember the programming note. We're going to put these out on Friday morning and on Tuesday morning first thing. They'll be available after midnight for you to download. So this will be the last one coming out on Friday night. And thank you to my expert advisor who had the idea. It's a good idea. And also, just to give you a quick update on the Trayvon Martin case, George Zimmerman, the person who did shoot and kill Trayvon Martin, was charged and arrested and turned himself in and did have his first appearance in court. They did charge him not with the manslaughter that everybody thought they were going to charge him with, but the special prosecutor took an extra step, charged George Zimmerman with second-degree murder, which is the highest charge that she could charge him with without going to the grand jury. And I really think that this finally is getting some justice for a man who opened his car door, went after someone who was simply walking home. The man stopped his car, got out of his car, and took off after someone who was doing absolutely nothing but walking to his house, and the boy ended up dead 20 minutes later, shot at the hands of George Zimmerman. Very interesting case. I'm going to keep you up to date on it. Thank you so much for watching episode 4, and thank you for watching the whole series. I really appreciate your input. Please share the link, get it to your friends, get the conversation started. That's what this is all about. Let's get to the core of these issues by talking about them amongst each other. Don't forget, I'd love to talk to you tomorrow night. That'll be Saturday, which is April the 14th. I will be performing live at Hairspray, which is right here in downtown Asheville. I'll be there tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'll be there at 10 o'clock. I'm performing at 12 o'clock. So stop by. It's going to be a great program. Myself, Natalie Smalls, and a few special guests. It's going to be a great time. But it's going to be the first time I've stepped foot on stage in Asheville in a couple of years, ever since we had Queer View in Asheville. So it's always good to come home. That's where it started at 19 years ago because of you. If you've enjoyed today's program, my name is the one, the only, Sabrina motherfucking Love. Live for it, love it, respect it, because I am truly the hardest working bitch in show business today. Hashtag drag queens don't always eat either. We'll see you on Monday.